and this is the president of your 2023-2024 Gold Chapter, Beta Alpha Psi, Nu Sigma Chapter, Jack Mitchell speaking. Now, you may be wondering, are we not seeing the feature presentation, which is our throwback meeting? Well, we have a couple of announcements before we get to that. And you're probably wondering, well, why am I talking about announcements? Well, if you've been living under a rock, and if you did not know, last week's meeting that happened yesterday, unfortunately, was not recorded. Now, before I get backlash saying, why you guys not recorded? Why did we not? Let me save you guys the stress and the anger. The reason being is that where our speaker works is at a state or federal or governmental level where they cannot allow us to record any of the meetings. And if you remember when we had the IRS come in, you guys probably don't remember because it's never on our YouTube channel, but they did. They would never allow us to record anything and have to go through a bunch of paperwork and all that stuff. So we decided for that meeting alone, for the New Jersey Casino Control Commission, that meeting was not going to be recorded at all. So if you were at that meeting, great. If you weren't at that meeting, well, unfortunately, there will not be any reflection paper for you to hand in. Now, don't worry, because the e-board is here to save the day. Because to combat this, we are going to do is, and I thought we would never say this because I know we said in our intro meeting in the beginning of the semester we would never do this, but we actually are going to do this. If you all remember those beautiful attendance makeup events, yes, I know there are a lot of them. And believe me, I've gotten some backlash from the higher ups about it, but we've decided that we will be holding an attendance makeup event to make up the attendance from this week's meeting. So this will be on Monday, March 17th, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the Mine 107, the same room we have BAP in. This will be a crossover event with Beta Alpha Psi Nu Sigma Chapter, Student Managed Investment Fund, and Women of Business Florham Chapter. Who will be the speaker? I'm glad you asked. The speaker is going to be Sean Bishop. Now, for those who do not know who Sean Bishop is a certified financial analyst, CFA, for those who are the finance majors. Yes, finance majors. He did go to FDU. He's a FDU alumni. He got his bachelor's of finance, the concentration of wealth management, master's was MBA of finance. You had an internship with HSBC. Then he worked at Equitable Advisors, financial advisor. And now he is working at Gamico Investors as a convertible securities analyst, right near where we are in Morristown, New Jersey. So that meeting will be from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the Mine 107. Florham be in person for Metro. Now, I do understand that this is kind of Florham exclusive, but do not worry. We made sure that we covered all our bases. So what we will do is, for those who would like to go to this event, we will provide a Zoom link for that meeting. And all you guys have to do is either you show up in person or virtually. We will count you for the attendance, and this will make up for that lost attendance that we had from today. But same rules apply, just like we do last semester with the attendance makeup events. If you are planning on going to this event, which will be on the 17th, you have to let one of the e-board members know. So either myself, Gloria, Joe, or Ricky, or all of us. You have to let us know in advance saying, hey, I am going to be going to this event. Then we will know in advance, like, this person will have to show up to it. We'll make sure they do. And then you'll be all good to go. So nothing really that crazy. But again, if you are in need of getting this attendance requirement up, please do it. Please. Not only that, it's an amazing speaker coming in. So, figured why not spend your St. Patrick's Day with us and Women of Business of Forum and also SMEEF. So that is number one. Number two, next Monday, and before I get to that, no meeting next week, obviously, because it is spring break. Get it? Spring break. Enjoy yourself. Please be responsible when you are out on spring break. However, the next meeting we will be having, because I know we usually would do the announcements at the end of the meeting, but since we did on the recording, I'm going to do it now. Will be CLA, and they'll be on the 19th, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Same time, same place. Emily Grice will be coming to speak to us in person. Dress code will be business casual. You'll probably see it at the end thing with the next meeting. So just want to throw that out there as a disclaimer. So that will be number 2. Number 3. If any of our current members who went out as candidates last semester, you'll probably remember this, but on Monday, we will be sending out to everybody. When I mean everybody, I mean all the candidates and all the members, their halfway point check-in. Now, for those of you who do not know what that is and you did forgot, let me explain to you how this is. So if you remember on Web Campus, we do have a requirements tracker. The requirements tracker, which I will actually show you because I figured I actually have this up. I can actually show you. That's just the editing the meetings, which is basically this. So you remember, it shows you your meetings attendance, the community service you attended, and the tutoring hours you have to do. So what we are going to do is basically chop that down and simplify it. Or in other words, personalize it so it's just towards you. So you basically will get a curated snapshot of where you're at right now with BAP. So the amount of meetings you've attended, the number of community service events you've attended, the number of tutoring hours you've done. For our fall candidates who are members or now currently members in the spring, obviously, you just have to do, my only advice is to just get the tutoring hours in. I know we've asked you guys either do for the semester, for the next semester, you want to get all done, you can. But if you do, if you already finished them, great. If you haven't, get on that, please do. And then for our candidates, remember 8 hours of tutoring, very, very important to get them in. Community service, we've already finished that already, which actually I'll speak about that now. I want to thank everybody, all of our members and candidates who donate to our LA's wildfires fundraiser drive. We got a lot of donations from all of you guys, so we're very, very happy for the turnout. We just sent out the package to American Red Cross today, so they should be shipping it out to LA as we speak. So again, this is going to families whose lives were affected by the LA wildfires a month ago. So we are very, very, excited to help them out in that way. So that's on the community service side of things. Attendance, remember, 10 meetings you have to show up to, and then show up to induction night in person or virtually. That is especially important for candidates in order to get in. You have to do that. So that will be number 3. Number 4. I know I'm going to talk about this probably not in 2 weeks, but maybe 3 weeks, but I just want to let you all know still, e-board elections are coming up in almost a month, which is crazy to say that. And this time, every e-board position is up for grabs. And when I mean every e-board position, I mean everything from treasurer all the way to president. So if you are interested, again, we will let you know when the time does come to send us your interest, but start to think about what position you would like to go out for. Again, if you want to shout out any one of us, please let one of us know. We're happy to do that. And again, if you have any questions about e-board responsibilities, you can always talk to me about it, because I've kind of held probably every role, if you think about it. So if you want to ask from experience, you can. So that is number 4. And the last thing, and then I'm going to let you guys go to watch our amazing remastered throwback meeting that we did with CBIZ. I believe this is back in, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it might be spring 2017. As you've all known, not last semester, during our welcome intro meeting we did in January, we announced that we will be doing a collaboration event with Beta Alpha Psi Nu Sigma Chapter, Women of Business Forum Chapter, and Women of Business Metro Chapter. I am happy and excited to say that we have officially locked in the date and location for this event. and the name of this event. So on April 17th, 2025, in a joint venture with Beta Alpha Psi, Nu Sigma Chapter, Women of Business Forum Chapter, and Women of Business Metro Chapter, we will present to you all Women in Accounting and Finance panel. So what we are going to be planning on doing is bringing on six amazing speakers. 3 from Forum, 3 from Metro. And the best part about this is all the speakers that are coming in are Beta Alpha Psi, Nu Sigma Chapter alumni, and Women in Business, either Forum or Metro Chapter alumni, which means they, FDU alumni, Silberman, will be coming back to speak to us. This will be held, again, like I said, April 17th at 7 p.m. in the Hartman Lounge on the Forum campus, Metro. We are working on transportation, how that will work. So again, please stay tuned for more info about that. We are locking down the speakers as we speak. When we do have the whole list ready, we will let you guys know who will be coming to speak to us. But trust me, this is going to be an event you do not want to miss. And it's going to be an amazing and awesome event to collaborate with with 2 other great business clubs here at FDU Silberman. Honestly, I've been looking forward to this event, making this ever since December when I pitched this idea to both e-boards, and they are super pumped to do it. So that will be April 17th. Again, stay tuned, get hyped for that. I forgot one more thing. I apologize. One last thing I'm going to say. We have officially opened up 2 new social media platforms. Yes, I know we have so many social media platforms. I know we have Lemonade. I know we have we have RedNote, we have TikTok, we have Blue Sky and X. I know we have a lot, but trust me, we are extending our social media presence. So we will have our Daily Motion page. So what Daily Motion is an alternative to YouTube. So not only will our meetings will not only be uploaded on YouTube and Rumble, but also on Daily Motion as well. We're starting to do the upload process for the past meetings. So again, bear with us on that. We're going to try and get it up to date as soon as possible. And I think the e-board and I will be trying to work on that over spring break. So that way everything's updated. So when you guys come back, everything will be up to code. And the second platform we're using is Getter. Again, it's another platform basically like Blue Sky or X. So we will be posting our announcements for our events there. So again, please follow us on both those pages. Our links to those will be in our link tree to follow us. And with that being said, I think I covered all my bases here. So with that being said, if you're ready, and I know I'm most certainly ready, and trust me, I am out of breath just talking about all these amazing announcements. Let's get you guys this meeting.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. So I'm at the Madison campus. Does anybody actually follow the Metro campus basketball team?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Because I went to bed early last night, missed the game entirely, but go after you. Again, I can either cheer for FDU at this point, or I can cheer for Seton Hall. I'm a Rutgers guy. I'm not cheering for Seton Hall ever in my life. So go after you. All right, so we're going to talk about transitioning to professional employment today. Obviously, we're down at FDU. I am Brandon Smith. So quick introduction. Some of you I recognize, I've met in the past. Some of you I haven't. I'm the Human Resources Manager for the CBIZ New York office. I also cover 3 other offices within CBIZ. So that would be CBIZ East in Maryland, CBIZ Cumberland, Maryland, and also CBIZ KA Consulting. KA Consulting, the first 3 groups are all financial services groups, so traditional accounting, tax, and advisory. KA Consulting is a strictly healthcare consulting practice with a little bit of finance thrown into it. Graduated Rutgers College, class of 2010, the last group of Rutgers College students. So that was an exciting time. Unfortunately, the economy was also at the bottom at that point. So I ended up going into the Rutgers University School of Management and Labor Relations, getting my degree in HR management. And then I jumped right into public accounting. So I had started my career working for Wiss & Company, a firm that some of you may be familiar with. came over to CBIZ about 3.5 years ago now and have really enjoyed my time. So enough about me. We'll talk a little bit about our agenda. We're going to talk about creating a positive impression, networking, what to expect as a newcomer. Some of you are already interning, some of you are going to be looking to intern. Some of you are going full-time in the very near future, so a lot of exciting things, and then finally what's going to be expected of you. But first, let's do a quick overview on CBIZ. That way you guys can learn more about us. 10th largest accounting firm in the country. We've got over 100 locations ranging from Boston, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, all the way out to LA, and then down to Boca Raton, Florida. So a lot going on within the firm. About 5,000 associates, and we're pushing $1 billion in revenue. We'll probably hit that threshold this year. So we're excited for it. I'm expecting that there's going to be a big party over it. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Reality of CBIZ is that we're split into 2 divisions, minus the national practice that I talked about. So we've got our benefits and insurance group. They do retirement planning services, outsourced HR, insurance groups, things of that nature. On the financial services side, we are your traditional accounting, tax, and advisory practices. There's also one additional financial services group in the state of New Jersey. It's located down in Lawrenceville. They do valuation, so the valuation practice is down there. So if anyone wants to travel that far south, by all means, feel free to apply to that. It's a good group. New York staff, at this point it's actually 175 employees. Need to get that file updated a little bit. So we've grown quite a bit in the last 6 months or so since I've put this together. Our group is now heading up a couple of national initiatives, including the launch of a national career practice for CBIZ. So quite a bit going on there. We were named to the 2018 Forbes America's Best Mid-Sized Employers list. We were just announced as the healthiest employer in New York City, which is a weird thing for me to say, because I know about my personal eating and exercise habits. Pretty good staff to managing director level ratio, rather. Managing directors within our firm are what would be traditionally partners at other firms. And really we work in a number of industries, but those are the top 4 that we work within. So the things that drive the New York economy: apparel and consumer products, software and technology, private equity and hedge funds, and then finally a lot of rich people in New York. 10 years ago now, CBIZ New York was acquired as a firm called Mahoney Cohen. So really our group can be split into 2 practices. Mahoney Cohen traditionally is the CBIZ ATA group, so tax and advisory. But then we also have what we call CBIZ Corporate Recovery Services. And corporate recovery and litigation services at this point works predominantly in the litigation support practice, and in that area, above all else, under restructuring and bankruptcy. So that group is, if anybody's interested in that group, wants to hear more about it, we are recruiting interns for the practice. So they're led by a true dynamo, one of the leading thinkers in this type of work, and so she's been really successful in what she does. Great people, great place. This is our HR philosophy. So obviously we're going to do the best we can to provide you all the skills that you need to be successful within your career, but we also want to create a great place for you to work. So we've got, we allow our employees up to 24 hours to pursue volunteer opportunities outside of the things that we already do as a firm. So we'll do an annual food drive where we compete against CBIZ offices across the country. We do a lot of work with Dress for Success through the CBIZ Women's Advantage. Then we do a whole bunch of annual events, a bunch of fun things that I think I'm going to be highlighting. So 20th anniversary, pretty exciting time for us. That was a couple years ago. We did a sock hop, collected I think over 10,000 pairs of socks to be donated. So when you think about natural disasters, people send food, people send water, people send clothing, shoes, they forget socks. It's the #1 most requested item when natural disasters do occur. This is a event that we did in the South Bronx. We do it annually. We go up, we distribute food and non-perishable items, children's books, clothing to about 800 families in the poorest congressional district, not just in New York, but in the entire country. So it's a real experience for a lot of us, really have come to appreciate it. This is the guy right here that heads up our entire office. So he grew up out at Metro. It's the guy on the right, chubbier guy. I don't know how else to describe him. Maybe cut that from the video for recording it. But he will get to come out and get his hands dirty just like the rest of us, and we, he's been great with that. CWA is our female recruitment and retention tool. So it's a networking program designed for women, but obviously men can participate. This was our CWA group of a couple of years ago, and looking at it now, there are 4 partners, including our test practice leader, and then 3 directors in that group that had all come up to the program. And it's our way of really connecting with our community. And so through Dress for Success, we'll do a lot there. Corporate Challenge, my favorite event of the year. It's coming up in about 8 weeks now. It's 5K through, no, I guess more than that, 12 weeks. It's 5K through Central Park. Then we all go out and do a happy hour. And so it's a 2-hour open bar. And so I just paid the tab on that, and I'm excited for that event. It's always a good time. So, create a positive impression. First thing you notice when you walk into people, how they're dressed, how they look, how they speak, posture and demeanor. So there are a lot of things that are thrown at you initially when you meet someone, and it takes a lot to change these types of things. So I do a course on bias on an annual basis within CBIZ. Actually, every 6 months I do it. Even if we're not noticing it, we are impacted by our own personal biases. And many of these things aren't influenced by that. And then it takes a lot to realize that, hey, I need to raise my awareness enough to acknowledge that I'm being influenced by these types of things that I've always known or thought I've known, and then how can I adopt and adjust to what's going on. But for some people, they're not thinking about that, and first impressions mean everything to them. So a lot going on within that. Communication. I don't know where my campus recruiter got these statistics. She sent me over this slide and said, hey, your words mean 7% of what's going on, your tone is 38%, and finally the image that you're presenting is 55%. For her, it was, your image or your executive presence, if you will. If you go into a lot of board meetings, if you go into a lot of meetings where you're going to find executive leaders, the thing that they always talk about when they're talking about the people that are coming up to the organization is going to be their executive presence. And so by that they mean their image and how they have a calm demeanor in terms of the tone. So a lot of the words that get said mean absolutely nothing. So maybe executive presence also means absolutely nothing. So you graduated. Obviously, you came through a great accounting program through FDU, or if you came through another school and are now in the master's program, either way, you've learned a lot in school, and so you're going to be looking to utilize those skills to be successful into your next role. So really, everything that they taught you in school gets thrown out the window immediately when you start your career, because they're going to find that you're going to have to start developing these specialized skills immediately. Some of you will be going Big Four. Others will be going mid-size, some of you will be going industry. And so each of your roles will have skills that they're going to expect from you to be successful in that world. One of the things that we always talk about when we meet our first year group and our intern group is that we always want to see when people walk in that they be consistent, that they produce quality work, and they're always going to have sustainable results. And so it's easy to bust out the door and knock the first couple projects out of the park and then kind of fall off the edge. And so we always just want to see people be consistent in the work product that's being done. Obviously, you're going to spend a lot of time developing time management, project management, leadership skills. Last time I was here, I think I talked about time management. If I didn't, it's a presentation that's coming at some point. It's one of those things that I care about. And then as you advance in your career, teaching and coaching and developing others becomes the most important skill you can have in place. So I talked about awareness beforehand. Humans by nature are going to have very rapid decisions that are made and when they initially meet someone, and then once you have that decision made, you kind of lock into it. Humans really aren't all that flexible. So again, by raising self-awareness, being aware of the fact that you're going to be impacted by these types of things, it can go a long way in helping you adapt and overcome to certain challenges you're going to experience in your career. We talk about, in my world, we talk about cultural awareness a lot, but obviously there are going to be different types of awareness, things that will, you're going to have to be familiar with and know how to navigate in order to be successful within that. Performance expectations, your employer is going to lay out performance expectations. They're going to give you the tools that you need to be successful within your role. They're going to tell you how to be successful in your role. It's your responsibility for being able to kind of bring yourself up to meet that expectation. They'll give you all the tools, you just need to execute. And then you should always be cognizant of what the goals of your leaders are, what the goals of your coworkers are. Some people just want to come in and go home and leave. Other people, they want to be able to build a legacy within the work that they're doing. So I also know that our Beta Alpha Psi sponsors back here. What are her goals? So what are her goals for the group? So you should, these are things you should be thinking about. What you can do to be successful there. Creating a plan. So obviously you want to, when I was in school, before I was working in HR, I actually wanted to be a labor organizer. And so in labor organizing, basically you're trying to implement social change within the work that you're doing. So obviously I was going to try to work within unions. And so within that, you have to know who your constituents are. Who are the people that are going to be working with you? Who are going to be the people that are working against you? Who are the people you can influence? And so understanding how you can develop and then leverage these groups goes a long way. Building trusting relationships, important. It's the one thing I'm always assessed on in my overall performance review. I just had it a couple weeks ago, so I'm thinking about it. And then finding ways to create exposure for other people that are within your network. And then this is kind of the summary on building the network. Obviously you want to have people that will advocate for you, and then you can advocate for others as well. Kind of how I look at it. Professional expectations and steps. So you drop into your first job, your first internship, you're going to do at least one day of orientation, I hope, but ideally it's going to be a pretty lengthy orientation. So you're going to be able to get familiarized with not just the work that you're doing, but your coworkers, your new living situation, your commute, everything that falls into an orientation. I remember when I first started working in the city 3.5 years ago, I was like, oh, this commute's super easy, you just take the train in. I was wrong. I was so very wrong. But I did get to meet a lot of my new coworkers, and then obviously, people always think work is just work. If you're in public accounting, it's also going to become a major route for your social life. You're going to hang out with a lot of your coworkers. I've seen a lot of friendships develop, a lot of romantic relationships develop out of that world. So obviously care about your social life as well. I always enjoy this slide because it's always learn the lay of the land, familiarize yourself with the facilities. Really my first step in anywhere I go is to figure out where the heck the bathroom is, figure out where the bathroom is, figure out where the kitchen is. So I know the men's room in this room is right out this door. And also emergency escapes, but that's a different story. And then establishing credibility, as I noted earlier, being able to deliver a consistent work product goes a long way there. And then finally get to know your bosses and coworkers, things that I've already talked about that keep reinforcing on itself. So understanding what's expected of you. Again, you're gonna walk into work. You know, your goal is figuring out, do I know what's expected of me? Have my bosses told me, I talk to my bosses about what's expected of me. And then do you have the materials and the equipment to do it right? Ideally, come into the world of accounting, people are gonna set you up for success in that regard. And then you have to be able to kind of effectively execute these areas. So listening to others, prioritizing becomes important in everything that you're gonna do, because you're gonna get a million things thrown on your desk at any point in time. It's important to figure out what's gonna be most critical to be done. Taking notes, on any person's first day, whether it be a partner or it be an intern, I'm leaving them with a pad of paper and a pen, just so that they can effectively take notes within that world. And then I watch them. I'll be like, hey, remember to take notes, and then I'll be checking to see if they actually wrote anything throughout my presentation or the presentations that follow. And then being honest about your skills, knowing where your gaps are, knowing where you need to improve, and then being able to kind of bring that to the next level. You know, getting to know your coworkers. Obviously, I talked about CBIZ quite a bit. I know all 174 other associates within my building by first name, know most of their family members, know which ones plan on staying in public accounting, which ones are definitely leaving public accounting when they have the opportunity. You know, being able to know who you're working with, you know, is important in what you're going to be executing. I learned this the hard way. When I joined a Weston company, I didn't necessarily respect my predecessors. I was a cocky 23, 24-year-old coming out and being like, all right, I graduated from the Rutgers program in HR management, I'm a big deal. And so I came in and said, let me just change all the processes. And it really upset a lot of people. They were more effective, and I got referred into that eventually. But really understanding the political lay of the land, how you can influence things, and by kind of being courteous and not complaining about how things are done. You understand why things were done that way, and then you can tell them, hey, okay, so we've been doing it this way. This is a more effective way to execute what we're looking to accomplish here. So, perhaps my favorite slide in this entire slide deck, because it says power and politics. And everybody always says, oh, I don't want to play the office politics game. I think that's a waste of time. Power and politics is literally everything in public accounting. There are going to be people that can advocate for you, that can stall your career really quickly, and by being able to identify who these people are and how they can further advance your career, to me, that's the most important thing. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, Game of Thrones where you're offing people left and right, or House of Cards where you're also offing people left and right. You know, there are subtle ways of playing power and playing politics by being able to deliver favors for someone without any ask in return. You know, goes a long way by being able to network and get to know your coworkers on a consistent basis, showing up at happy hours and picking up around. You know, those are the things that will influence social power within the office. And obviously your firm's going to talk about the career pathways that you have going on. They'll talk about the review systems, the training. A lot of the things will be set up for you to just flow naturally from point to point to point. And you won't even necessarily notice that these things are going on unless they're actually going on. That's an break my neck. And then you just want to create a positive impression. You know, being a team player, I think, is important. Being able to kind of step forward, take on additional responsibilities, and then hitting your targets, hitting your goal, being able to execute what you're saying you're going to execute, very important in what you do. So that's that from that angle. So why CBIZ? Why I chose CBIZ personally? I've always worked in public accounting as a professional. In a prior life, I was managing a liquor store. Managing a liquor store sucks. You have an interesting clientele. You're doing a lot of blue-collar work. I also worked in manufacturing prior to this. So I've always worked in public accounting. It's an environment that I know. It's an environment that I like working with because people always seem to care about the development of others within their organization. It's one of the things that have really come enjoy about public accounting is that career advancement is whatever you want it to be. Work-life balance, so it's not public yet, so cut the tape again. But we're also moving to summer Fridays this year. So we're going to be closing every Friday from Memorial Day to Labor Day, so I'm excited about that. But otherwise, you know, work-life balance is going to be whatever work-life balance is. Busy season is always going to be busy season. There's always going to be hours, but we try to adapt to that in other ways. So we're hoping that Summer Fridays is an additional step in that direction. We've already been closing at 1 o'clock on Fridays. We're just giving people the whole day at this point. Advancement is paramount for me. I came from Wiss & Company, like I said. I love the firm, I love the culture, I love the people. But there was no upward mobility, for me at least, on the HR function. So I came into CBIZ, had the opportunity to relocate to Denver, Colorado, ended up staying, but now I cover basically the entire Mid-Atlantic region for CBIZ. And there's obviously a lot of room for growth for all of our associates coming in as well. Partners are not getting any younger, and they're always wanting to pass down their piece of the business and, you know, get to their own retirement. And finally, I enjoy the culture of CBIZ. You know, I wasn't in many of those pictures that I had posted before. I was typically the one taking the picture. But you can see that people were smiling, all of them, and there was a lot that we've got going on as a firm. One of the things I want to do when I go back is to add more pictures from different events, our holiday parties, and just our kickball league and our everyday interactions with one another, because I think that really reflects who we are as a company. I already talked on growth and development, so I'm going to kind of skip over that. National training, love this slide. I always tell the story. This guy right here, Metro, you can't see it, but figure out the guy that's smiling the slickest. And he had walked onto the floor after a Orlando Magic Miami Heat game, grabbed the basketball, chucked the shot, nearly got kicked out of the arena for it. So that's why he's smiling the way he is. But I love national training. I think it's got a great place in everything that you do. It's a great way to build networks. It's a great way to be able to focus on your technical skills. And finally, you know, it's great to just get away with your peers and kind of do things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. I hear a lot of stories, some of which can't be repeated following national training, but I love it nonetheless. So CBIZ, we do a lot on campus. This is what we did last fall. So I personally did about 1/8 of all this work across CBIZ, which is kind of astounding to me. We did an event here during the fall. We did campus interviews here during the fall. Hopefully we came out and did the accounting career fair, or accounting meet the firms thing. So we always want to be on campus, and so with that, I just want to mention one additional note. We're also recruiting for our Career Academy. Career Academy is our one-day externship program, so it's our summer leadership program. Of course, it still says business night. I didn't change it. I was at Rutgers 2 weeks ago doing this presentation. Changed the front slides, didn't change the back one. You can apply on the CBIZ Careers website, so it's jobs.cbiz.com. Externship Day is a full-day event filled with networking, leadership skills development, learning more about CBIZ in greater depth. So I think it's personally it's a great program to participate in. We hired quite a few of our interns and full-time associates out of that program last year, so if you're looking to get your foot in the door at CBIZ, this is a great place to start with it. So questions?
So the internships are for the fall?
Our internships run essentially year-round. So depending on what group we're recruiting for, our tax group will do internships in the fall, in the winter/spring, and then also during the summer, because they've got busy seasons throughout. So we've got that going on. Our audit group typically will only hold interns from January through May. They don't have the work to necessarily give you a valuable internship experience. during that period. And then the corporate recovery group, which I noted before, they do year-round. They really want to bring people in, have you work within their practice for 1 or 2 years, develop your skill set, and then, you know, everyone that's been in our corporate recovery group has landed a position somewhere else within the firm, either within corporate recovery or with the audit practice, with the intention of coming back to corporate recovery in a couple of years.
So what are you looking for in interns? Are you looking for juniors, sophomores, seniors?
So Career Academy is typically going to be our sophomore group. People are just wrapping up their sophomore year right now. Intern group typically will be juniors and fourth years. And I think FDU is now on a 5-year program or full 5-year program. So with that, we're looking for like people coming out of the junior year or going to their 4th year. And then with the intention of saying when you're done with your internship, we want to have you join a year from now or whenever you graduate.
So do you have a program that like lets you experience different fields, or does it is just like single, like whatever you apply for?
Good question. So with our interns, we want people to be able to navigate from group to group to group. So if people do express an interest in the working in tax and want to work in audit, we try to allow that to happen, depending on kind of what the staffing needs are within that area. But we want to, with our first year associates, we hire people directly into practices. So it's not a kind of a hybrid where you'd be doing both tax and audit. We hope that your internship experience allows you to experience the different areas and then be able to select a career path off of that. That's not to say that we haven't had people transfer after starting with the firm. We've got 2 or 3 people right now that have moved from one area to another area, either transaction advisory or from audit to tax. Nobody moves into audit. I don't know why, but so yeah, that's kind of what we approach. That's how we approach it.
Do you find that like the work is like an extremely like boom and bust kind of cycle?
In what sense?
Like, do you have like you'll be doing almost nothing for like a long time, and then like all of a sudden you're doing like 15-hour days?
No. Like I said, the busy season is going to be the busy season. You're going to have more work during that period. But we as a firm have taken the strategy or the approach where we're also going to be able to fill a schedule for at least 40 hours during the summer. For 40 hours, I want to say for at least 40 hours, for 40 hours during the summer, through a combination of our not-for-profit practice. So we have a partner that heads up the not-for-profit practice, and then quite a few of our commercial partners are also involved in 401k plans, and so that really kind of fills our entire calendar for the year. You know, after you account for vacation and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
When does your externship for 2019 start? You said sometime.
Great question.
Summer?
I noticed that after I had ended, I was just going to be like, all right, back to externship day for a second. We are scheduled for Tuesday, June 11th. So it's going to be a one-day event. So we're currently in the process of interviewing, so if you are interested, let me know. I can give my recruiter a heads up and she'll reach out to schedule things for you. But yeah, good question. Tuesday, June 11th.
What time? Like, is it a whole day?
It's a full day, correct.
Oh, it's a full.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, we between meals, and networking with leadership, and developing of leadership skills, and hearing more about CBIZ, we really do fill a full day. And I can anticipate not this year, but next year moving to a 2-day cycle, 2-day calendar on that.
But there's no like time, like you know when it starts, like just like.
It's probably a 9 to 5:30 event.
9 o'clock.
I'm building out the outline of it now, and that's how I'm seeing it kind of falling into place. 9 to 5:30, 9 to 6.
So for like corporate recovery, how do you get like clients there? Do like struggling businesses like approach you?
That's more boom or bust.
Right.
So within corporate recovery, they'll follow the filings. Basically, there's a giant database where people who are filing, they have to drop there in order for like accountants and attorneys and whatnot to start engaging them. So we just keep track of what's going on with that. Some are within our wheelhouse, some aren't within the wheelhouse. Unfortunately, I can't talk about client specifics because some of them are very well-known cases. But it's an excellent group to be involved in.
Yeah.
It's just, that's very boom and bust.
Yeah. Are they mostly like CPAs and that?
Within that group,
Yeah.
there's CPAs and CISs.
And what?
And CISs, so I think it's like Certified Information Security Analyst, or somewhere in that area. Close enough to it, so that those two groups kind of fall together. And then every once in a while, we'll get a CPA. They'll come in, so someone will be like focused in valuation. But most of them start with the CPA and then start adding credentials after that.
And what percent of like your like people are dedicated to that?
That practice in general?
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a practice of about 25,
Okay.
25 people. And then they're also expanding a national footprint at this point. So they've now got people in New York, New England, California, and Chicago. So kind of the big areas that you would come to expect.
Right.
All right.
Does maybe Metro have any questions?
Actually, I do have one question. With your internship, is it possible to transfer to another location? Because I live in Maryland, and a lot of internships want me for the spring and summer. Well, I go home for summer, there's no way to live here.
Yep.
So I was wondering.
Great question. I actually do have a couple of people that we are setting up arrangements for that right now. One of our girls actually had interned up in our Providence, Rhode Island office. She's from Rhode Island. I feel like I gotta look over here, but I'm just gonna look at the screen. She's from Rhode Island, so she worked up in Providence. She goes to school at Fordham though, so she transferred down to our business unit, joined us for the academic year, and now she is planning on returning back up to Providence, and so she's transferring back up to Providence. And you know, I've got a lot of good relationships with HR VPs across the country, so we have had people that have worked in our Phoenix, Arizona office that have decided to go to grad school out in New York or out in our market, and so we've been able to accommodate those people. When we find good talent, we want to retain good talent, and one of the things that we have to do for that is being flexible when it comes to interns and where they're going to be working. And where in Maryland are you from?
I'm from Calvert County, so we're about 45 minutes basically east, a little bit south of DC.
Okay. So does that put you on the western shore or the eastern shore?
Eastern Shore,
Okay.
around there, yeah.
Well, okay, so Eastern Maryland is a group that I cover. They do have internships that run out through that group. So, you know, there would be the potential for you to be able to work there if you were to be hired into a New York internship.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question. When you guys usually hire for full-time workers?
For full-time workers, we are hiring in your senior year. So we come out to the Madison campus. Is this the Madison campus or Flum Park campus?
It's the same thing.
Okay, same thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I knew that, I just wasn't sure how you guys refer to it locally.
It depends where, they say Florham, but the town is Madison
Okay.
address. But
Got it, makes sense. So we come out, we do an event in September, but then we also do on-campus interviews in October. And so we'll make first round selections coming off campus interviews, and then coming off of that, we will do second round interviews probably a week or two later, and within that, we'll have offers out hopefully by, you know, Halloween usually.
Thank you.
All right, all good?
Yep, thank you.
All right, cool. All right, for those of you here, let me just get my contact information. So again, I'm Brandon Smith, Human Resources Manager. Heather Brown is our rock star of a campus recruiter. She is based at Kansas City, Missouri, had previously worked in the audit world, so she kind of understands what people are looking for from a campus perspective. She's able to give a lot of good advice to students. So she's also a great resource to have her contact information. Otherwise, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for letting us come out again. And you know, I always enjoy coming out to FDU.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I didn't get to pass around a sign-in sheet. I don't know if someone kept track on that, but if I could somehow find a way to get emails just to kind of shoot people some more information on Career Academy, that'd be great.
Yeah. Where's Victoria? Okay, I'll get it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, 'cause I always want to make sure people get all the
For sure.
information they need. And also send it to the Beta Alpha Psi FDU, the FDU Beta Alpha Psi email address.
Mhm.
You guys can distribute it that way too.
Right.
Okay.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
I don't know if you said it already, but what's the main instructions are available for the summer?
For the summer, we're actually completely full at this point. That's why I didn't come up. We do a lot of our